angels, it's Hailey Reese, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so grateful that you are here, and I truly hope that you are having an absolutely beautiful morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you when this video finally reaches you. Oh my gosh, today's video is one that I am so beyond excited to share with you guys. Recently, I've gotten so many questions from you asking if I have any experiences of my own, anything chilling, unexplainable, terrifying that I've experienced that I can share with you. And just the other night, I was sitting there thinking about all the experiences that have happened over the past couple of years that I haven't shared with you yet. And when this one came to mind, I felt as though it was one I definitely had to share with you because this one is incredibly recent, but it's also one that just reminds us how much bigger we are than this earthly experience and truly how infinite our souls are, how much more there is beyond what we can comprehend in our physical form. And this experience, while it is absolutely terrifying to so many people that I share it with, to me, it's just bone chilling and unbelievable. And again, a reminder that we are so much more than this physical being we currently are. So with all of that being said, let's get into today's experience. And on that note, if at any point you have any thoughts, theories, opinions, or comments, please make sure to let me know down below. As always, I truly appreciate every single comment, and I love hearing what you guys think of these experiences, especially when they're my own, because it's incredibly helpful to hear your perspectives and your own personal experiences that may or may not be similar. So, backtracking for a moment here, if you've been on my channel for a while, you would know that my entire life, my dreams have been my connection that has been, or my strongest means of connection to the other side. I've been able to communicate with my spirit guides in my dreams, my deceased loved ones. I have had profound experiences and traumatic premonitions that have come true that was just mind-blowing. I've shared briefly some of those experiences where I have literally seen the soul of somebody that is deceased, and it really did happen in that given moment in time. And I've also had premonitions of the loss of somebody that I didn't even know personally, but I knew online on the exact day that it had happened, that they would share later at a later date. And so I knew that my dreams, my entire life, were a way for me to connect to my higher self, to my angels, my guides, and now more specifically, my Grams. While she was still alive, she used her dreams quite often as well to communicate with her angels and guides and deceased loved ones, respectfully. So I started using my dreams as more of a space to connect with my highest self and to gain insight into my life and, all things spiritual. And I think I had shared a couple of stories back then as well of a couple of scary experiences that I had had. Back then, I was coming back into all of my spiritual practices, but I was like literally this caterpillar coming back out and emerging from that cocoon, spreading its wings again, but having to readjust to the dangers and the protections and just everything that I needed to do to make sure that I was spiritually protected and that I was able to gain control of my dreams. If you guys watched my haunted house series when I was much younger, I had a specific spirit that would meet me in this dreamlike space and essentially traumatize me. And I had talked to numerous people in my real life about it that were very spiritual, that encouraged me to learn how to control my dreams, how to protect myself in my dreams, how to block off and close off these spirits that may meet us in our dreams. And I just remember having to regain that control again early on this year when I started on my spiritual journey once again. And so there were a couple of different moments and things that had happened that were quite terrifying, but simultaneously I was having all of these incredible experiences. And that's really what leads me into the very first thing that had happened that I found to be strange. So on this one night, I remember I was having a specific dream that I was quite aware that I was dreaming, as I usually am. I'm able to control a lot of my dreams, and it's very rare for me to be in a dreamlike state where I don't recognize that this is not real. And so in this particular dreamlike state, I was well aware that I was in a dreamlike state. However, the space that I was in felt real. It felt almost like an astral projection or, traveling to an alternative dreamlike space. And in this space, I started having these really, really terrifying experiences. And one thing in particular was coming to the forefront, and it was a specific case that I wanted to research. And I just had this awful feeling coming, and the dream was turning very dark, and it felt like there was an immense darkness associated with that entity that at the time I was contemplating researching into. And I could just sense that the dream was turning and shifting into a way that I was not comfortable flowing with. And I remember tapping into my higher consciousness and realizing that I needed to shift myself to another dream space that could still be just as real, if that makes sense, but is a safe space, a protected space, a high vibrational space. And I remember alternating myself into this new space. And in this dream space, it once again felt like it was in some sort of astral plane. And I felt like I could just sense the immense love and protection and just like this beauty in this space. And at the time in this space, I saw Tyler, and next to him, I saw my little foster brother. And then there were other people in the space as well, like my grandparents, and it felt like an incredibly angelic space. And I just remember feeling all this love. And my little foster brother and Tyler walk up to me. And in this dream space, Tyler turns to me and goes, "Bad dream too?" And I was like, "Yep." And my little foster brother looks up at me and he goes, "Are you having a bad dream?" And I explained to him in this dream space that I had went to another place, another plane that was just a lot darker and scarier. And he was absorbing this at the time. And I ended up waking up from the dream and going about my day. And later on that day, Tyler and I were talking, and we realized that we had both been in a similar dream. And what I mean by a similar dream is the way that he was describing it. And granted, he doesn't remember his dreams quite as vividly as I do, unless he relays what he saw in the dream immediately after. So if you talk to him about his dreams like an hour, 2 or 3 after he's woke up, it's not quite as detailed. And so what he was detailing was a little bit different. It was like his safe space that he had seen was a little bit different than mine. But nonetheless, we had both transferred ourselves to this space simultaneously in our sleep. And that wasn't the first time that we've done something like that. So I just remember thinking, like, that's really cool. We must have been really connected last night. And as I go on and I go to my mom's house the following day, I go to say goodnight to my little brother, and I'm tucking him in, and he looks up at me. And by the way, okay, hold on a moment here. I've told you guys this before, and I'll do a whole video revolving around it in the future, but he is an incredibly sensitive, spiritual, connected child. And we'll get into that a whole nother time, but just keep that in mind. And I remember he just looked up at me and he grabbed my hand and he said, "Tonight when I pray, I'm going to pray that you don't have that bad dream again." You guys, I looked at him and I was like, "What, buddy?" And he goes, "The bad dream. I'm going to pray you don't have that bad dream again." And he just climbs back and like goes back to watching his show before bed. And I'm there trying to get more out of him. And if you've tried to pry at a child who says something so nonchalantly and innocently, there's nothing more coming out of him. And I just remember leaving there and feeling like, hold on a second. This really was an entirely real experience. He validates that he was there. Tyler validated that he was there. And that simultaneously means that the space I was in prior was also just as energetically real. And the entity in which I felt this horrible feeling surrounding and this thing coming towards me in the space must have been real energetically at the very least. And so I had decided the next day that I wasn't going to cover this particular entity anymore. So that night I have a dream and I end up in this beautiful, positive, dreamlike space again. And I remember Grams was in this dream, not specifically associating with me, which is a whole other thing I'll talk about in a bit with you guys in another video I'm doing. But she was just there. We were all just kind of there in this space. And this girl walks up to me and I couldn't even remember what she looked like. It was like I could just sense her energetically, but I couldn't see her in any sort of physical capacity. Like there's no physical description I could give. And I remember she sat down next to me and she says, that video that you're thinking of doing, there's an evil that's watching you. And I look at her and I'm like, what are you talking about? And she goes, it doesn't want you to talk about it. And it's kind of like lurking. And I remember I looked at her in this dream and I was like, you're right. And I felt that yesterday. I don't feel it today. This is all in the dream, right? I'm like, I don't feel it today. I'm not going to cover that. And she goes, that's a really, really good idea. Okay. So these like sequence of dreams stop. My dreams have been incredible and profound and spiritual on a number of levels. I could do a whole video on dreams. That's a separate conversation. But I remember that this sequence of dreams kind of shifted into something else, and my spiritual learnings just kind of evolved and have been evolving, and it's been an incredible journey. But last year, I end up at a work thing and I end up meeting this beautiful, incredible soul, this beautiful Reese's Pieces. And she comes up to me and right away, it's like, it's so cool meeting you guys because we connect so much here in the comments and on social media. And just like, we've built this beautiful community and this incredible family. But when I get to just hug you and feel your energy in person, it's so, so, so amazing. And I just remember hugging her. And the minute I did, I was like, I know her energy. Like, it is so beautiful. And I'm talking with her and I'm like, I feel like I've met you. Like, have I met you somewhere else before? And she ends up telling me, okay, this is chilling. She tells me, Hailey, this is going to sound so weird. She's like, but I had a dream once that you were going to cover. And she tells me what? And she goes, and I had this horrible feeling. I was having all these dreams about it. And I just felt like I had to reach you. I felt like I had to put it out there that you shouldn't cover it. And so I was trying to like message you and DM you, which I didn't see. And she goes, and then one night I had this dream and I sat down and I talked with you and you told me that you weren't going to cover it. And I looked at her and I was like, because that happened. And the moment I told her my version of the dream and everything that had happened before and everything with my little foster brother and Tyler, we all came to the conclusion that we had shared in that energetic space while we were dreaming. I've done so many videos on astral projection and just dreamlike states and the ability to astral project, quantum leap, whatever it is that you want to call all these different things that people are able to do. But nonetheless, it reminded me that while I was in that space, I had shifted originally to a very dark, terrifying, like I can't even explain the energy, but the beauty to be able to recognize that and shift my vibration and shift my frequency, even while in a dreamlike state, and wind up in this beautiful space was so, so, so incredible. And to know that some of the people that I experienced in this dreamlike state and in this dreamlike space were genuinely there in a spiritual way. Now, so many people that I've told this to think it's absolutely terrifying. For me personally, I feel as though it's just truly another reminder that we are these spiritual beings having an earthly experience. You watching this, you are so much more than this physical shell. This is a beautiful physical shell that you're able to experience Earth in and all of these earthly experiences. And how wonderful is that? But what a beautiful thing to be reminded that our soul is eternal and there is so much more beyond that we could ever begin to comprehend. That's basically my experience that I wanted to share with you guys today. I really do hope that you enjoyed it. I really enjoy hearing people's experiences of this sorts, and so I hope that you guys enjoyed hearing mine. Have you had any sort of similar experiences? What are your dreams like to you? Are you somebody who feels as though you're able to connect to the other side more when you dream? Do you dream at all? Or are you someone who just doesn't have dreams? I would love to know whatever you're comfortable sharing with me and the Reese's Pieces. And that is it for today's video. If you are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed but you enjoy my content, I can't even tell you how much it would truly, truly mean to me if you would go ahead and click that subscribe button. And if you did enjoy today's video, I would also really appreciate it if you would go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until tomorrow, I love you. Bye, guys.